This is Shaun Sport in podcast form.
Going to start with American sport to just kick things off, and the NFC beat the AFC in the Pro Bowl Challenge yesterday, and that's
What? Can you use words?
Okay, I'm going back to it. Okay, so the NFL Super Bowl's taking place. They select the best players in the comp over the course of a season.
Oh, it's like an all-star
Okay,
game.
It's
right.
the All-Star. It's their version of the All-Star game. And instead of playing a game where no one really tries, what they did this year was play a bit of touch football.
Oh.
And they also did skills challenges. So I checked it out on ESPN yesterday, and I thought it was the biggest load of rubbish I've seen in recent history. They had a full stadium of people who had given up their day to watch these stupid games they played, like jumping contests.
Literally run up and like kids, like little kids playing like tap, and then
Well, they had the tag things hanging out the side.
They had the tag?
Yeah,
so proper touch footy, basically. But it's like, that's not what you're the best players at.
No.
And were they still wearing all of their big padding and stuff?
No, they weren't.
Okay,
They
I
were
was
just
going
wearing
to say,
T-shirts.
that would have been stupid.
I know, but to break that down to the best players, you're looking for them to play some kind of...
Yeah.
Have a go at something.
Yeah.
And they were just zipping around
It's
doing
like
that
on
stuff.
MasterChef when, like, instead of cooking something, they just make them chop onions, the neatest, and you go, nobody cares about that. Like, seriously.
I know.
That's what they were doing.
Yeah, I know, that's
Yeah.
great.
Who's ever gone out to a restaurant and said, "Oh, mate, onions aren't the same cubage"?
Yeah, exactly.
Are you
No
serious?
one ever. So the winning team was the NFC, and the thing about that is every player on that team got 120,000 Australian
To do
dollars.
that?
Australian dollars. And the losing team got 60.
To do that?
Yeah,
It's not
to
a
do
bad
that.
day's work.
And they were just out there having fun laughing, weren't
They were
they?
laughing,
Because
they
it
were
was so
jumping
stupid.
on there.
Yeah.
People
How many
taking their
people
phones on
rocked
the
up to
field.
watch?
It was full.
There was pretty much a full
stadium.
house,
Oh,
stadium.
come on.
There'd be 80,000 probably there.
This is the tip of the iceberg
It
of
was
what's wrong with the
ridiculous, mate.
Americas.
Oh, no joke. Staying over there in the
Also
NBA.
guns are bad.
That's why I said it's the tip of the iceberg.
The NBA at the moment, Kyrie Irving, he's a big-time player. He was the one who was an anti-vaxxer just a couple of years ago, and he wouldn't play. Now, he got traded that year to Brooklyn, and he hardly played, so he could play a couple of away games, but because of, in New York and around there, they had a different agreement, so he wasn't able to play home games.
Yeah.
And still got paid the whole way through. Anyway, he's left his team, the Brooklyn Nets, and he's gone to the Dallas Mavericks on a massive trade deal. So that will probably upset... when you're a good team, and I know you want a good player to make you better and, challenge for the title, but do you need people who are going to cause dramas along the way? He seems to be that kind of guy.
Well, I mean, Ben Simmons, is that a prime example?
Yeah, well, he's quieting down a lot. Like, he's really low-key at the moment. Has
Yeah,
been.
because I think he's gotten to realise everyone's sick of his bullcrap.
Yeah, he's not. He's never been at the level of Kyrie.
No.
Yeah.
Like Kyrie's been causing grief for ages.
I don't know. It's interesting, isn't it? Because, I don't agree with the whole anti-vax ethos, but all these people that refuse to get vaccinated now will come out the other side, and they're saying, "Well, see, I didn't have to.
Yeah.
All the rules have been dropped. I didn't have to." So they're sort of been validated in sense.
Yeah, in a way, absolutely, Nathan. Moving on to the Australian women played India in a warm-up. The T20 World Cup is coming up very shortly. They're over in South Africa. They won last night. 43 runs was the winning margin against India in Cape Town, Newlands Stadium. You guys been to Cape Town? It's beautiful.
No.
Every time you talk about South Africa, we tell you we've never been there.
Really? Did I ask this last week?
Still never been there, Shaun.
You know
I haven't
what?
been in the last week.
One day, Natalie and I we are going to have a sneaky weekend in Cape Town. The next long weekend, Natalie, we'll fly out.
And then you'll say it, and we'll go, we've been there.
By the time we get done with flights, how long will you be able to stay there? About 3 hours?
An hour and a half.
That is a sneaky weekend. We're going to get stuck in the World Game just in a second with the great man Robbie Slater. By the way, you can catch the A-League's action. It continues this weekend with Perth Glory taking on Melbourne City in the men's comp Saturday night on Paramount Plus.
Also,
But Robbie-
Paramount Plus, the new episode of 1923 is out. Came out yesterday, so
So something for everyone.
something for everyone.
Nathan, I watched it. Robbie,
so good.
have you watched 1923 yet on Paramount?
Well, according to some people, that's when I was born.
Oh, Robbie.
Being a bit harsh on myself there, but no, I haven't. But there's so many series that I need to watch, and 1923 is one of them, and I've heard of all different kinds of what is Yellowstone.
Yellowstone.
I heard of one yesterday from a mate of mine called, I think it's just started, The Last of Us.
Yes.
I mean, there's all these series, but unfortunately my life is very complicated. I don't have that much time. I've got 2 ex-wives that I'm very good friends with. And
Yes.
the reason why I'm good friends with them is because I gave them everything, basically. I'm quite rich. To put it in perspective, I used to drive a 911 Turbo. Now I drive a Toyota Kluger, which is a fantastic car.
It is.
It's a fantastic car.
hear you.
But, we do it all for the kids, and we're just one big, happy, confused family.
Yeah, well, that's lovely,
fantastic,
actually,
Robbie. That's a beautiful story.
You got to look at. Have you got photos of you still with that car from the old days? You look at it every now and just
Yes.
Your one true love.
Yeah, actually, my youngest, God bless her, little Indigo, yesterday was at a swimming carnival, and she won a race, and anyway, we had a really nice day, and on the way home, she managed, I don't know, one of my ex-wives must have sent her a photo of that car I just talked to you about, and she said, Daddy, you used to have this, and I said, yes. And she said, do you miss it? And I said, well, kind of, but I sort of said, well, really, it was a choice between the car or you, Indigo, and she said, oh, and I said, well, did you make the right choice, Daddy? And I said, it's undecided. I really missed that car, and you swam very well.
So today, yes.
You've got a lot to prove, though. Robbie,
That's
obviously the big news overnight is that Manchester City have seemed to be cooking the books there, and they've won 6 titles over the last, probably decade since the Abu Dhabi group took over. It's not looking good, is it?
No, it's amazing. This is, never seen before. It's the first off. The allegations are completely massive, and the possible punishment, right up to expulsion from the Premier League, is the possibility, is quite extraordinary. Now, Manchester City have come out and have stated in their statement that they're quite surprised and they're willing to defend.
And they got caught?
Yes.
No, they say.
Well, there's always something, isn't it? Like, you're only guilty if you get caught. So, look, it's massive. And, look, we don't have the time to go through the 131 allegations, but it goes to the owner, of course, Sheikh Mansour bin Zayed, who's worth about 21 billion, mind you.
Yeah.
That he owns the majority of those shares, but a lot of those revenues were hidden. They're also accused, one of the big ones is paying a significant part of their former boss, Roberto Mancini's salary through an Abu Dhabi shell company, and lots of other allegations. And, wow, I just think, guys, that, if these are approved, the possible punishment would be catastrophic for the club, really.
What do you mean catastrophic? Will they be kicked out of the competition?
Expulsion, that's what he said, yeah.
Well, expulsion is the ultimate, but they could suspend the club from playing league matches, like as in some and not total. Expansion, they could be stripped of titles, points deductions, transfer bans seems a no-brainer. Fines will be a no-brainer as well. Order the club to pay costs, expulsion. So that
would cripple the club.
Well,
that could cripple it.
Well, they've got the finances behind them still, I'd imagine.
Yeah.
So,
but say if the big thing of expulsion was to happen, right?
Yeah.
So that's the ultimate.
But they'd be dropped to a lower level.
How would the fans react? Because we do know that fans get up and about.
Yeah, they do.
What would happen there?
Oh, look, there's one thing for sure. Manchester City fans would stay very loyal. And, while there's no precedent in these kind of, like I said, 131 allegations, that when we say expulsion, they could be relegated to a lower league with financial restrictions. Not for the same reasons, but we've seen things like that happen. Rangers in Scotland went down a couple of leagues over, I think it was financial as well, and it took them years to recover. But the fans in England, they're very, very loyal.
Yeah,
don't forget, it wasn't that long ago that Manchester City had won virtually nothing. And they, it was only a short time ago, maybe 10 to 15 years, I don't know the exact, but it's fairly recent that they were in the third division, the third tier.
Well, I wasn't questioning their loyalty, I was questioning their anger. Like how
Their angle will be, yes.
Would they want the owners to be outed, basically, Robbie? I think what you're saying,
Yeah.
Nathan.
Well,
a forced sale of the club.
Yeah.
Can they do that? Do they have the power to do that?
That's possible. Well, they did that, obviously, for different reasons. Abramovich was forced out of England, of course. I mean, of course, they have the power to do those kinds of things. So we're going to have to wait and see. What I think what will happen is this will be long drawn out. It's not going to happen overnight.
Yeah, it's going to be fought out in the court, surely.
Yeah, and don't forget, there was a ban on transfers and financial restrictions put on Manchester City a number of years ago, and they fought for that in the European Court of Appeal and actually got it overturned. So the thing is, this could go on for a long time. But it is a bombshell. There is no doubt. And, yeah, they've got some very, very nervous months ahead.
Well, the coach, Pep Guardiola, said that he'd be absolutely furious and he would walk when he would have been lied to the whole way around. I wonder that with the top-level teams that have got they've got the backers, some rich oil tycoons
So we're talking
them.
billionaires, yes.
I mean, how many of them are wrought in the system?
So what is the actual crime here? It's because it's hard to get your head around. So the owners have got all the money, but they can't necessarily use it to prop the club up. Is that right? The club has to be financially a going concern?
Yeah, look, they've got certain restrictions in the amount of salary they can pay to players and transfers and everything. What we're seeing with these allegations, and like you said, it is hard to get your head around. Yeah. But obviously they've been hiding a lot of these things, and that's why they're sort of in all this trouble. But Nat, I'm with you that even for me, being inside the game and following it, it's very hard to get, when you read actually all the allegations, it's very hard to understand. Because these players, I mean, you're talking about players that are on, like, Erling Haaland, their star player at the moment. He's on £850,000 a week.
Imagine just going and buying a house every week. Yeah. It's amazing,
that's right.
Isn't it?
So I don't know what restrictions there are.
Yeah.
Like, if there were restrictions, why is he... And he's only one player. Like, they're all...
Yeah, that's right.
They're all multi-millionaires in the Manchester City team.
Yeah.
So I'm not actually sure where they've hidden money or why they've had to hide money. And I mentioned the former manager, Roberto Mancini, being paid a lot of his salary from...
in a shell company.
In a paper bag.
I just don't understand. So how much is he allowed to get paid? And Erling Haaland it's public. It's £850,000 a week. So they're not allowed to pay him 12. I don't know.
Yeah, I know. It's so confusing, isn't it?
Isn't it hilarious? Because we've all got someone that lives in your street, or maybe that's at work, or maybe one of your relatives that you're looking at all their new stuff, and
you go,
there's
how do they get all that money?
I know what you do for a living. There's something isn't right here.
But it is. I mean, we're speaking about it this morning. It's only really just come out.
Yes.
I'll be spending most of my day just reading over all the fine details. But I'm sure. As was the case with my divorce settlements, I'll be very confused until at the end of the day.
That's it, Robbie.
Wow,
well,
so all the players in next year could be driving Klugers.
That's right.
Mate, the Klug, you can't knock the Klug.
You can't knock the Klug.
No bad words.
It's the official car for Manchester United from 2024 on.
And twice divorced
I love it.
Robbie, really appreciate your time, mate. You can watch all the action, as I said, of the A-League, Paramount Plus these days. You'll be following the action. I'm sure there'll be more to come.
100%. Thanks very much for having me. I'll speak to you soon.
Good on you, mate.
Robbie Slater, what a legend.
Shaun Sport is a Nova podcast. For more great comedy shows like this, head to novapodcast.com.au.